Okay, so we got this Iraqi, how you even say it? Iraqi YouTuber killed in an honor killing. Pretty crazy, but I'm Jazz. Welcome back to my channel. Let's get straight to it. Do all the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe.
That's how Tiba al-Ali appeared in her popular YouTube videos. To her
I
thousands
never
of
heard of her
followers,
before, but then
Tiba
again,
radiated joy,
I'm
beauty,
not
and
from over
courage,
there.
an inspiration for young women seeking independence. But behind the smiling face on the screen lurked a dark family secret.
She was pretty too. It always says people stay taking
In
out pretty
January
people, I swear, bro.
2023, 22-year-old Tiba returned
Dang,
to
this
her
was
homeland of
recent.
Iraq for what should have been a family reunion. Instead, it became a death sentence. This is the story of how a father's desire to protect his honor led to the murder of his own daughter, and how one young woman's death ignited a firestorm of controversy in a nation grappling with the deadly consequences of tradition.
These protesters in the Iraqi capital are demanding justice for the killing of a young Iraqi YouTube star, Tiba al-Ali. She was strangled by her father in the southern city of Diwania on Tuesday.
Bro, you're telling me her own daddy killed her?
The attack is being described as a so-called honor killing.
Do you want to see how much money you're eligible?
Yo, the fact that that's a thing is insane. They said she got killed by her own dad?
Tiba al-Ali was born in Iraq in 2000 during a period of international sanctions and political instability. She grew up in a conservative family in the southern province of Diwania. In this region, known for its agricultural lands and deeply rooted traditions, Tiba's childhood unfolded against a backdrop of a nation struggling to rebuild. As she entered her teenage years, Iraq was a country in transition, grappling with the aftermath of war and the influx of Western influences through expanding internet access and social media. For young Iraqis like Tiba, this created a complex world where traditional values often clashed with the allure of modern global youth culture.
Most of these students were toddlers when U.S. soldiers stormed into Iraq in 2003. Despite the armed checkpoints and blast walls outside the campus,
I know y'all hate when I talk, but hey, it's a reaction video. I love it that they be covering up their hair. I would love to just
students say life in Baghdad is like any other city. They go to restaurants, cafes, malls, enjoy friends, and spend a lot of time on their cell phones.
Even if there is a war, we can live a normal life. Like we go out, we have fun. We make love stories. Even if there is a war, there is a love. Just trying to have fun, forget about wars or so.
In 2017, at the tender age of 17, Tiba embarked on a trip to Turkey with her family, a journey that would forever alter her path. Captivated by the vibrant allure of Istanbul and the tantalizing promise of freedom, Tiba made the audacious decision to stay behind when her family returned to Iraq. This choice marked the beginning of her journey towards independence and self-expression, but also set the stage for the tragic events that would unfold 6 years later. In Turkey, Tiba built a new life for herself. She embraced the cosmopolitan atmosphere of Istanbul, a city straddling 2 continents and embodying a unique blend of tradition and modernity. Far from the constraints of her upbringing, Tiba blossomed, exploring her interests and connecting with a community of fellow Iraqi expats. It was here that Tiba discovered YouTube as a platform to share her experiences and connect with others.
Shawty was swaggy for today. She was swaggy.
By 2023, Tiba had amassed over 30,000 subscribers on her YouTube.
I always see channels like this. I'm like, damn, I wish I could understand your language. They stay popping. But this is crazy to hear. Like, it's all these stories about these YouTubers getting killed.
YouTube channel.
Like, dang.
Her content often featured her daily life,
She was so
her
pretty.
thoughts on cultural differences, and her experiences as a young Iraqi woman living abroad. Tiba's videos resonated particularly with young viewers from conservative backgrounds, who saw in her a symbol of the freedom and independence they aspired to. Tiba's YouTube success was not without controversy, though. Her videos, which often featured her Syrian fiancé and portrayed a lifestyle that challenged traditional Iraqi norms, attracted criticism from conservative viewers. Some accused her.
Yo, if you guys are from Iraqi, let me know in the comments. Like, what are some of those norms? Because I'm like, her being around her fiance. In the US, that seems like a normal thing, but I don't know. I didn't watch her channel, so I'm not as familiar with the story, so that's why I really just been listening. But y'all let me know in the
abandoning
comments
her
if y'all
cultural
got more
values,
info.
while others saw her as a corrupting influence on young women.
Happy birthday.
I mean, they matching outfits.
Despite the success and happiness Tiba found in Turkey, her relationship with her family remained strained. Her father, in particular, strongly disapproved of her decision to live independently in a foreign country, away from his supervision, and bristled at her plans to marry her Syrian fiancé. Tiba's joyful social media posts, which captured cherished moments with her partner and the life they were building, only deepened the family rift.
Yo, they was like, you posting videos of you with this man. They said that's making us even more mad. Dang.
Unbeknownst to
It's
her
crazy.
followers,
Hi,
a
EJ.
storm was brewing in the background of Tiba's luminous online presence.
What's up, baby? Hmm? You gotta use your words. Okay.
In early 2023, as Tiba al-Ali's life in Turkey flourished, an unexpected call from Iraq disrupted her newfound peace. It was her mother's voice, filled with longing and promises of reconciliation. Despite the years of estrangement and the painful memories that had driven her away, Tiba found herself torn. Her mother's pleas tugged at her heart, evoking memories of family and home that she had tried to leave behind. Tiba had actually already planned a trip to Iraq for later that year, harboring her own hopes of reconciliation with her family. Her mother's call seemed to confirm these hopes, strengthening Tiba's resolve to make the journey. So with that, Tiba decided to move her trip to Iraq forward. As Tiba prepared for her journey, she was cautiously optimistic. She looked forward to reconnecting with her mother and hoped that time might have softened her family's stance. Yet, a seed of apprehension lingered. The memories of past conflicts and the reasons she had left Iraq in the first place weighed heavily on her mind. To mitigate potential conflicts, Tiba devised a careful strategy. She made arrangements to meet her mother alone first at a close friend's house in Baghdad, deliberately avoiding her family home.
Oh, so she knew. She knew something was up. If she said, okay, I'm only meeting up with my mom by herself first, she probably already knew her dad was on something and was about to try to do something to her. So that's just crazy to me to think that the mom wouldn't try to save her daughter, though. But hey, I don't got this full story. Let's keep listening.
This neutral ground, she thought, would provide a safe space for an initial reunion, allowing mother and daughter to reconnect without the immediate pressure of the entire family's presence.
Yeah,
She planned
that's a
to
lot.
use this meeting as a gauge, a way to assess the current family dynamics and her mother's state of mind. If this encounter went well, she intended to gradually reestablish contact with other family members, including her father. She hoped that by taking this step-by-step approach, she could navigate the complex terrain of family reconciliation while maintaining some control over the situation. On January 31st, 2023, Tiba arrived in Baghdad, her heart racing as she stepped off the plane onto Iraqi soil for the first time in years. A mix of nostalgia and anxiety washed over her as she made her way through the familiar yet changed city. She headed to her friend's house, expecting a private, emotional reunion with her mother. But as she stepped into the house, her world shattered. To her shock and dismay, she found not just her mother waiting, but her entire family gathered there.
Bruh,
In that moment, Tiba realized she had
how would you feel if you walk into an ambush like that when you specifically set up a meeting just to meet with your mom? And not only is your mom there, but the whole family, when you literally already told your mama, I only want to meet with you first. I know her heart just sunk. Like, bro, like why are they all here? Like, I'm trying to reconnect with you. Dang.
walked into a carefully orchestrated trap. The
That's an
promise of a loving
ambush.
reunion had been a ruse, a ploy to lure her back into the fold of a family that disapproved of her life in Turkey. The house that was supposed to be a neutral meeting ground had become the stage for a confrontation she had desperately tried to avoid.
Right.
As
Dang.
Tiba stood frozen in the house, the atmosphere in the room quickly turned hostile. The family began berating her for her life choices and her decision to live in Turkey with a man. Despite her protests and attempts to
My thing is, was it so bad? Like she's about to get married to him. I don't know, maybe they was heated though. Like, I don't know if that's the thing in that country, like they'll kill over that. I mean, they called it an honor killing. That's crazy, but I'm not as familiar with the culture out there.
explain herself, her words fell on deaf ears. They closed in around her, cutting off any possibility of escape, and then forcibly drugged her, leaving her defenseless and unable to resist.
You drugged your own family member? They drugged their own daughter? They said they forcibly drugged her, cut off any escape. Why did she felt it, knew, like she felt it. She literally was like, okay, let me just meet up with my mom 'cause I got a feeling they about to do something scandalous. That's scary. Dang, your own family? EJ, don't eat that, my child.
Once she was
Dang.
incapacitated, they bundled her into a car and drove her to the family home in Diwaniyah province, over 100 miles south of Baghdad. Throughout the journey,
They
Tiba remained under the
kidnapped their
influence
own
of the
kid.
drugs, unable to call for help or escape. Upon arriving at the
They
family home,
drugged and
a heated
kidnapped their
argument
own
erupted
kid.
between Tiba and her father. The confrontation, fueled by years of tension and cultural differences, escalated rapidly. Tiba desperately tried to defend her choices and her right to live as she wished, but her father remained unmoved. Exhausted and emotionally drained, Tiba eventually retreated to her old room, hoping for a moment of respite. However, the worst was yet to come.
More than 100,000 Americans have...
Bro, that is sick, man. That is sick. Your own family drug you, kidnap you. Like, bro, she's a grown woman. They, in their culture, they probably said, nah, you can't just live off
Consumed by what he later
independently like
described as a
that.
desire to cleanse the family's honor, he approached his sleeping daughter.
Hold
In a
on,
horrifying
hold
what
on,
he
hold
later
on. Let's go back.
In the early hours of the morning, while Tiba slept, her father entered her room. Consumed by what he later described as a desire to cleanse the family's honor, he approached his sleeping daughter. In a horrifying act, he strangled his very own daughter to death. Tiba, who had
First off, your daughter come home. She says, I only want to meet up with my mama first just to talk. But y'all ambush her, the whole family there. Y'all basically gang up on this one girl. And I mean, she is grown. She's of age. Y'all drug your own daughter? You drugged your own daughter. Throw her in the car. Drive her 100 miles away. So you done drugged her, kidnapped her. It's just so many crimes. And then dude strangles his own daughter to cleanse the family? Like, dang, why can't y'all just leave her alone? Like, if she was already in Turkey away from y'all, she literally have to fly back to come visit y'all. Why can't y'all just leave her alone? Disown her if you have to, but dang, kill her is crazy. Like,
dared to dream of a
that's
life beyond the
crazy.
confines of traditional
No.
expectations, had her life brutally cut short by the very person who should have protected her.
That's sick,
The next
bro.
morning, Tiba's
That's
father
sick.
turned himself in to the local police.
And
He
turned
confessed to the
himself in.
murder,
What the
attempting to
heck?
justify his actions as a matter of family honor. He claimed that Tiba's independent lifestyle in Turkey and her plans to marry her fiancé had brought shame upon the family. The news of Tiba al-Ali's murder at the hands of her
Hold on, let's listen to that again. They saying she brought shame among the family.
attempting to
How?
justify his actions as a matter of family honor. He claimed that Tiba's independent lifestyle in Turkey and her plans to marry her fiancé had brought shame upon the family.
So living independently and planning on marrying a man made her deserve to be killed in his head? Like, why? What the heck is that? What's the normal culture like over there? Y'all let me know in the comments. Is it normal for them to have like arranged marriages? And because she didn't do that, is that why he wanted to kill her? Like, I don't understand why he would feel that way. I'm like, she's planning on getting married. And it's not like he's abusing her. It's not like I just don't understand. I don't. I'm like, bro,
The news of
how?
Tiba al-Ali's murder at the hands of her father sent shockwaves through Iraq and beyond. What began as a personal tragedy quickly evolved into a national reckoning, forcing Iraqis to
Horrible.
confront the dark reality of so-called honor killings and the broader issue of violence against women in their society.
Bro, is that a common thing? He literally said to cleanse the honor of our family.
Ali's
Like,
murder
bro,
is just
what the
it's a
heck?
horrific tragedy, and it must be investigated, and the perpetrator must be brought to justice. And you know, when I think about Tiba Ali's case, I wonder how many more Tiba Alis there are going to be, because without adequate protection in place for Iraqi women and girls, these are the risks that they're facing every single day.
By your own dad.
Unfortunately, it was a very heartbreaking news for us, especially for Iraqi women. Although the honor killing is become common in Iraq, but the way or the case with Tiba was shocking for the youth, girl and boys in our society. Absolutely, it's not easy to talk about honor killing in Iraq, especially we've been trying for the last 10 years, as I was MP, trying hard to pass a law on domestic violence, and each time we were failed.
In the days following Tiba's death, protests erupted across Iraq.
This is insane that a honor killing is a common thing out there. Like, bro, what? This is sad, bro.
In Baghdad, demonstrators gathered outside the Supreme Judicial Council, holding signs that read, "Stop killing women," and "There's no honor in murder." The protesters, many of them young women like Tiba, demanded justice and called for legal reforms to protect women from domestic violence. Currently, Iraq lacks specific legislation criminalizing domestic violence, a fact that activists argue leaves women vulnerable to abuse and murder. Social media platforms became a battleground of opinion.
Wait, so my thing is, did the dad go to jail or not? Like, did he serve time for this or not? That's what I want to know. Did he actually serve?
The
That's
very
what I want to
platform
hear.
that had made Tiba a recognizable figure. While many expressed outrage and called for change, others defended the father's actions, highlighting the deep cultural divide in Iraqi society. The public outcry forced Iraqi authorities to.
Somebody was on the dad's side on this. I don't get that though, because I'm like, okay, she's living on her own in Turkey and she's about to get married. How is that a bad thing? How is that
to address
bad?
the issue. However, their response revealed the inadequacies of the country's legal system in protecting women. They referred to Iraq's penal code, particularly Article 409, which allows for lenient punishments for honor killings. This article states that if a man surprises his wife or female relative in an act of adultery and kills her, he may receive a maximum sentence of just 3 years in prison. A draft law on domestic violence has been stalled in Parliament since 2014, facing opposition from conservative politicians who argue that such a law would erode traditional family values. Other articles, like Article 41, enshrine a husband's right to punish his wife and parents' right to discipline their children within limits prescribed by law or custom. These vaguely worded provisions have often been invoked to justify domestic violence and shield abusers from accountability. Despite the brutality of the crime, many feared that her father would receive only a light sentence due to the existing laws.
Violence against women in Iraq has long been a cause for concern amongst campaigners. A Home Office report in 2021 highlighted the fact that Iraq lacks legislation to prevent and punish so-called honour killings, and the Iraqi Penal Code allows for lenient punishments on the grounds of provocation or if the accused had what it describes as honourable motives. The law doesn't explain what honourable motives are.
The current Iraqi penal code is very lenient when it comes to honor crimes, including, for example, murder. So this domestic violence law needs to make sure that domestic violence is criminalized, but it also needs to ensure that a reporting mechanism is put in place and that shelters are available for women.
As the public debate raged on, a new development added another layer to Tiba's tragic.
I'm sorry, as I'm listening to this, it just got me thinking, I'm like, so that means the rest of the family was okay with him strangling his daughter? Because I'm like, was this all planned out? Like, y'all planned to ambush her and then have him strangle her? Like, y'all drugged her, blocked exits so she couldn't leave the room. And then he strangled his own daughter. Now, I would never watch the videos or anything like that. I don't know what was going on. But I'm like, there's no reason if this girl was living by herself and about to get married, why would that be dishonorable to the family? Besides, unless it was a situation where she was supposed to have an arranged marriage or something. I just don't understand how she could be dishonoring her family. I don't get it. But y'all let me know in the comments, bro.
Story. Voice recordings, allegedly between Tiba and her father from months before her death, surfaced on social media. These recordings, verified by human rights activists, shed light on the long-standing family conflicts that led to Tiba's estrangement.
Take that to your room.
In these heartbreaking audio clips, Tiba can be heard accusing her brother of sexually abusing her when she was younger. She claims that this abuse was a primary reason for her decision to stay in Turkey, rather than return to Iraq.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The allegations of past abuse within the family added a new dimension to the tragedy, highlighting the complex and often hidden dynamics of domestic violence. The revelation of these recordings intensified public outrage. Many saw Tiba not just as a victim of an honor killing, but as a survivor of long-term abuse who was ultimately silenced for seeking freedom and safety. In April 2023, just 3 months after Tiba's murder, her father was sentenced to 6 months in prison for her death. The lenient sentence further fueled public outrage and intensified calls for legal reform. Many saw the short sentence as a failure of the justice system and a grim confirmation of their fears about the inadequacy of Iraq's laws in protecting women and punishing perpetrators of gender-based violence. The response to Tiba's death also revealed deep divisions within Iraqi society. While many expressed outrage and demanded justice, others defended the concept of honor killings or blamed Tiba for her fate. These conflicting reactions underscored the complex cultural and social dynamics at play in discussions of women.
Yo, the gaslighting and victim blaming is crazy, fam. Crazy. She was getting SA'd by her brother. Her dad, I'm sure, was verbally abusive by the way he would talk to her, especially after something like that happening to her. Like, that's messed up, man. For more videos like this, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, fam. We are going to keep reacting to IRL videos on this channel, Jazz7.7. Jeez, that is crazy. Man, on to the next video. That is sad, bro. Sad.